Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta. With all the sniffling and the pollen in the eyes, it's good. It's good to be here, all together sniffling as one. Our first hymn this morning is easy to find. If you're looking in your great hymnal, it's number 1. It's the first one. It's a beautiful hymn called May Nothing Evil Cross This Door as we talk about peace in the home. Please rise in body or in spirit. Nothing evil cross this door, and may ill fortune never pry about these windows. May the roar and pray go by. By faith made strong, the rafters fill, withstand the battery of the storm. This heart, though all the world grow chill, will keep you warm. Peace shall walk softly through these rooms, touching our lips with holy wine, till every casual corner blooms into a shrine. With laughter drown the raucous shout, and those these sheltering walls of thin, may they be strong to keep hate out and hold love in. We are so glad you are here. It is the best place to be in Atlanta, Georgia on a Sunday morning.
Wow, whoopee! A
A
Zeppelin!
can of Simon Eyes.
Ralphie, what did Aunt Clara give you? Show everybody.
When you're sleeping, he knows when you're away.
I don't want to. Ralphie, show everybody what Aunt Clara gave you.
Aunt Clara had for years labored under the delusion that I was not only perpetually 4 years old, but also a girl.
She just always gives you the nicest things, Ralphie. Oh, my. Oh, isn't that sweet? Ralph, go upstairs and try it on.
I don't want to.
Go upstairs right now and try on that present. She went to all that trouble to make it. Now, go on. While Ralphie is changing, I'm going to play Santa Claus. Now, let me see, what can I find? Oh, I see something. Randy, this is for you, honey. Oh, and this is for Daddy. Here, from me to you.
Thanks a lot. I wonder what it could be. Well, only one way to find out, isn't there? Well, it's a blue ball. Oh, it's a bowling ball. Thank you, darling. Thank you. Yes, very much. Very much.
Ralphie, we're waiting.
Oh, come on, Mom.
Right now.
Immediately, my feet began to sweat as those two fluffy little bunnies with the blue button eyes stared sappily up at me.
Come down here so I can see you better.
I just hoped that Flick would never spot him, as the word of this humiliation could easily make life at Warren G. Harding School a veritable hell.
Oh, isn't that cute? That is the most precious thing I've ever seen in my life.
He looks like a deranged Easter bunny.
Doesn't not.
He does, too. He looks like a pink nightmare. Are you happy wearing that? Do you want to take it off? Look, kid, tell the kid to take it off.
All right, you'll only wear it when Aunt Clara visits. Go on and take it off.
Take it off!
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist
Should put you in a bunny suit.
bunny suit. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta, a beloved community that changes lives. I'm Barbara Begner, and I'm so glad you're here this morning. Wherever you are from and whomever you love, you are welcome here. If this is your first time or you've not yet had a chance, please stop by our Welcome Center near the Quiet Room after the service to allow us to get to know you a little better. You can sign up to receive information about services and programs being presented over the next several weeks. Today, in children's religious education, first and second services, we are offering a special program, Kitchen Science. Kids will see how everyday items from the kitchen can be used to do science experiments, which will help them to see the world around us in a new way. With a few simple ingredients found in many homes, we will extract DNA from fruit. We will talk about what DNA is, why it is in all of us, and why it looks so slimy. And there's more. This is what's cooking at Children's RE today. As for adult religious education, classes follow the second services at 12:30 p.m. Take a look at the order of service for more info. I especially want to highlight our Inquirers class, which is great for people wanting to learn more about this faith community. It meets in room number 1 right off the social hall. Reverend Makar will be leading the discussion today about Unitarian Universalist history, principles, and sources. Also at 12:30 p.m., join us in the social hall for the Communications Summit. Learn about the latest tools to support UUCA groups and hear about the 2019 communication priorities. One of these priorities is the creation of an annual calendar. Before the summit, be sure to check out the calendar display in the social hall and add your events. Looking ahead, now is the time to register for the all-congregation retreat at the mountain on April 26th to 28th. Our 2 ministers will be there. Together, we will gather for workshops on writing your spiritual autobiography, guided wildflower hikes, a special eco-spirituality workshop, a talent show, and so much more. For planning purposes, we need to know how many are attending, so please register by April 14th. For registration information and a full list of activities, please visit the UUCA website. And finally, on May 5th, UUCA is ordaining Taryn Strauss into the Unitarian Universalist ministry. Be sure to check the weekly update for more information about this beautiful and meaningful event coming up. We are all so proud of Taryn and excited about her ministry. And now, please be sure to take this moment to put your cell phone in the most reverent position. Thank you. Once again, we're so glad you're here on this beautiful morning.
Hindu and spiritual teacher Eknath Eswaran says, most of us carry a conflagration around us in the depths of our consciousness, and many of us are skilled tacticians of guerrilla warfare right in our own homes. What do you think about that? Is peace in the home possible? Well, we're going to see together.
So just over 2 years ago, I started a sing-along in Atlanta, a sing-along of the musical Hamilton. It's called Hamilton's ATL. And I'm sorry to say that this is the first time we've done a Hamilton song during a worship service. I just apologize. We should do a lot more. Maybe we'll just do the whole show one Sunday. I'm kidding. That's illegal. But this is a group from my Hamilton sing-along, some members here at UUCA, some other friends. And this song throws us into about 2/3, 3/4 of the way through the musical, where Alexander Hamilton has had a very public affair, which has had a very, has dire consequences on his marriage. And and his son has then gone into a duel to defend his father's honor and been killed. And so this is a song of reconciliation between Hamilton, sung by Marcus, and his wife Eliza, sung by Cam.
push away the unimaginable. The moments when you're in so deep, it feels easier to just swim down. The Hamiltons move uptown and learn to live with the unimaginable.
I spend hours in the garden. I walk alone to the store, and it's quiet uptown. I never liked the quiet before. I take the children to church on Sunday, a sign of a cross at the door, and I pray. That never used to happen before.
If you see him in the street, walking by himself, talking to himself, have pity.
Philip, you would like it uptown. It's quiet uptown.
He is working through the unimaginable.
His hair has gone gray. He passes every day. They say he walks the length of the city.
You knock me out, I fall apart.
Can you imagine?
Look at where we are. Look at where we started. I know I don't deserve you, Eliza, but hear me out. That would be enough. If I could spare his life, if I could trade his life for mine, he'd be standing here right now, and you would smile. That would be enough. I don't pretend to know the challenges we're facing. I know there's no replacing what we've lost, and you need time. But I'm not afraid. I know who I married. Just let me stay here by your side. That would be enough.
If you see him in the street, walking by your side, talking by your side, have pity.
Eliza, do you like it uptown? It's quiet uptown.
He is trying to do the unimaginable. See them walking in the park, long after dark, taking in the sights of the city.
Look around, Eliza.
They are trying to do the unimaginable. There are moments that the words don't reach. There's a grace too powerful to name. We push away what we can never understand. We push away the unimaginable. They are standing in the garden, Alexander by Eliza's side. She takes his hand. It's quiet uptown. Forgiveness. Can you imagine? Forgiveness. Can you imagine? If you see him in the street, walking by your side, talking by your side, have pity. They are going through the unimaginable.
Let us say the chalice lighting words together. May the light of this flame illuminate our tradition of seeking, invite all who yearn for acceptance, and ignite our passion for justice and peace.
And the light of our chalice flame also represents the warmth of loving community, how we care for each other, reach out to each other, and let's share that warmth right now with a handshake or a hug. Hey, good morning to you. Good to see you. Hey, good morning. Good to see you. Hey, hi, good morning to you. How are you doing? Good to see you, sir. Good to see you.
Morning.
Hey,
How you doing?
good to see you. Hey.
I'm sorry.
Let us put hands upon hearts, feel the warm connection there. Let love in this moment flow. Say to yourself silently, I will love myself. I will love others. And that love will help heal our world. And now the joys and sorrows of our beloved community. We send love and healing thoughts to John Mann, who is in Piedmont Hospital for a regularly scheduled procedure. We send love and congratulations to Sandy Payne and Lynn Payne, who welcome a new granddaughter/grandniece born March 9th, 2019. Eden Beal Whiteacre and her parents, Colleen and Daniel, are thriving. And finally, we're sending love to Michael Dangerfield, who was here this morning. He got word that his father is close to dying. He's had to fly to Wisconsin. So please keep him and Michael's family in your hearts. At this time, I invite you to say out loud the names of people you are holding in your heart this morning. Let silence be our sanctuary now. We take in a big breath, and then we exhale. We gently surrender to something larger than ourselves. We enter into the wise silence.
We are a part of a global network called the Unitarian Universalist Association that saves lives, nurtures hope, spreads love, makes mistakes, perseveres, fights for justice, shapes young people, teaches sexual health and mutuality, seeks the loving message within religious traditions, creates caring communities, and trains leaders for a more just future. Today, and for all of the other fifth Sundays of the month, we are giving our plate collection away to UUA in a spirit of gratitude and service. This congregation right here is profoundly important to our Unitarian Universalist Association. UUCA has formed powerful leaders who have gone on to make an impact on this faith tradition. We have nurtured leaders right here in our midst who have found their voices here and offered them in service to our wider faith movement. You may, as I did, suddenly snap to attention under the realization that you have prayed and worked alongside giants of this faith. To name a few: Carol Ann Arvin, Tony Stringer, Marianne Oakley, Deanne Peterson, Christian Harden, Sonia Tinsley Hook, Jeff Jones, Marty Keller, Duncan Teague, Terry Davis, Julie Lepp, Tim Atkins, Rhett Baird, John Mackey, Lynn Conley, Nancy Bartlett, Bryce Thomason, Bill Kramer, Diana Jordan Allend, Francis West, Roger Comstock, Bill Gupton, Howard Reese, Larry Wheeler, Beth Stevenson. I could add so many other names to the list. These people and others are examples of why we are a visionary and significant congregation in the life of our religious movement. If you'd like, you may give money in the collection plate in honor of one of these great leaders who have you been blessed to know in real life. May we here at UUCA sustain our legacy of leadership and service to this global faith community of Unitarian Universalism. May we be the bringers of hope and a rose in the wintertime. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
So this next song that Danielle Wilson and I will be performing together, I heard a few weeks ago at the American Choral Directors Association National Conference. It's a song called North by band Sleeping at Last. And it talks about home. And I thought very much about UUCA and our temporary space where we are currently residing, our excitement and trepidation about our next space, and all the feelings we have, and yet we still have places for our roots to grow. The song is North. We will call this place our home, the dirt in which our roots may grow. Though the storms may push and pull, we will call this place our home. We'll tell our stories on these walls. Every year measure a home. And just like a work of art, we'll tell our stories on these walls. Let the years be kind, be kind. Let our hearts like doors open wide, set our bones like gold over time. Give us bread, give us salt, give us wine. A little broken, a little new. We are the impact and the blue, capable more than we know. We'll call this fixer our home. Through the years, our color fades. Slowly, our paint chips away. But we will find the strength and the nerve it takes to repaint and repaint and repaint again.
greatest gift that we can have is the dirt in which our roots can grow. And our global faith tradition, it's that dirt. And we grow. And this congregation has grown. And you heard a number of names. And as Barbara said, there could be many more mentioned. Each of those names is a story, a beautiful story. And may there be more stories, more leaders as we move forward into the future. Thank you for your generosity today.
And now please join me in the dedication of this offering, which is found in your order of service. To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action we call community, we dedicate our lives, and these are offerings.
So my topic today is peace in the home. And the clip we saw earlier from that classic holiday movie, A Christmas Story, zooms us straight into the heart of that topic. Family space is crowded space, crowded with the needs and the emotions of all the members that are there in that family, what each member brings. The crowding gets only more intense as the holidays come. Youngest son, Randy, he is ripping open his gift, and his voice pipes up with, "Wow, wowee, a Zeppelin," while at the same time, his father opens up a gift from his wife, and it is a can of Simonize. And the father's response is the opposite of Randy's. Simonize does not inspire youthful dreams. Simonize is about car maintenance. The father feels so old. Later, the mother delivers to her husband another gift, plops it on his lap. It's heavy. He jerks up in shock and maybe some pain, and to accentuate this, he says in a squeaky high voice, "Thanks a lot." He's not unpleasant about it, but you get the feeling that something is not quite right. We all know what the gift is before he tears open the wrapping, a bowling ball. But we are still surprised when it appears, as he says, "Well, it's a blue ball." This is but one moment of a larger thread of sexual frustration and loneliness that runs through the entire movie. We see the father turning towards objects of sexual fantasy that are not like his wife, very different from his wife. He does not turn to her. He abandons her instead to the busyness of being a mother, and it angers her. But the anger is unconscious to her. She is not consciously aware of it, so it comes out in accidental ways, like how she just plops the bowling ball on his lap. It's at this exact moment that the camera swivels to show young Randy playing with his Zeppelin. He's going round and around on the floor. But at that exact moment when plop, Randy looks up. He looks up to watch his parents, his innocent, round as saucers eyes, drinking everything in. Children absorb the unspoken feelings and unrealized yearnings of the parents. In a family, there are truly no secrets. But then comes the whole pink bunny suit episode. The mother is simply delighted at the creativity of Aunt Clara. Ralphie suspects that Aunt Clara thinks he's still 4 years old and a girl to boot. He wants nothing to do with it. His mother insists that he put it on. He stomps upstairs. He does what his mother wants. He stomps downstairs. And his mother says, "That's the most precious thing I've ever seen in my whole life," she says. But what she doesn't see is a boy who is becoming a man. And that pink bunny suit wounds him. It wounds him. Ralphie's brother, meanwhile, is cracking up there on the floor. Ralphie tells him to shut up. There's a little bit of sibling conflict there for you in the mix. And then his dad says, he looks like a deranged Easter bunny. He looks like a pink nightmare. Essentially, mom and dad are openly disagreeing about how to parent the kids, and that is a source of major stress in any family. And they go back and forth on this, whether or not he should keep on wearing that outfit, and she finally tells him to take the suit off, and you hear the father say, "Take the suit off." All of this from just 2 minutes and 37 seconds of a classic holiday film. Family space is crowded space, crowded with the needs and emotions that each family member brings. The insight immediately gives rise to two key questions. Number one, if this is what family is all about, then who needs it? Number two, if this is what family is all about, then how is peace possible? Take that first question, who needs family? It is a very strange question to be asking because, first of all, a family of some kind is the biological and psychological prerequisite for becoming born and for growing up. Egg and sperm, they got to come together somehow. But even if that meeting happens through in vitro fertilization, still, the single mother and her child are a family, surrounded by extended family and friends. And from that context, a child gets the raw materials out of which they will build a life, the raw emotional and intellectual materials. No one can make a life out of nothing. The raw materials come from family. But let me hasten to say that such raw materials are going to be valid even if they do not come from a certain kind of family, say a structure that echoes the iconic American nuclear family of the movie, with a married mother and father together with children. If that were the case, then 80% of American families today would be providing children with the wrong kind of raw materials. These days, only 20% of families are like the family in the movie. The conservative conception of family is just not right. As a Unitarian Universalist, I define family as people committing to each other, to be reliable and respectful partners in life. And if children are involved, then those children experience a loving home where they're able to grow into their beautiful personal potentials, their human potentials. Opposite sex partners, same sex partners, single parent, or whatever other options there may be, all make for valid family structures if love is at the center. Now, a moment ago, I called the question, who needs family, strange. And there is another reason why I said that. Desire for family is not really given to us as a choice. The deep desire is always there, born with us, in us. But it can get fulfilled in ways that may look very different from popular definitions of family. Psychologist Thomas Moore speaks to this profoundly in his book, Soulmates, Honoring the Mysteries of Love and Relationship. A family, he says, it's not an abstract cultural ideal. A man, a woman, children living blissfully in a mortgaged house on a quiet neighborhood street. The family, the soul wants, is a felt network of relationships, an evocation of a certain kind of interconnection that grounds, roots, and nestles. Makes me think of our Unitarian Universalist hymn, Spirit of Life. Right? Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Moore continues, people working on a project together, they may feel the presence of family as they talk, work, get to know each other. When we hope that our nation can hold together as a family, or that the family of nations can live in peace, these are not metaphors, but rather the expressions of a profound need of the soul for a special, grounded way of relating that offers deep, unconditional, and lasting security. Family is one of the soul's most longed-for pleasures, says Thomas Moore. And we are busy building family out of whatever works because It is a soul deep need, even for the person who doesn't want a committed relationship or a marriage, even for the person who doesn't want any children. Family for such a person is friends. It is church community. It is work. It is the place they go where everybody knows their name. Family is not a choice. So let's now turn to that other question about peace. How is peace in the family possible? Well, how are we defining peace? By peace, are we meaning the absence of struggle? Are we meaning the absence of adults getting gifts or giving gifts that are bad, right? Make people feel old. The absence of loneliness and anger. The absence of children absorbing the imperfections of their parents side by side with all the good things that they absorb. How about the absence of disagreements on how to parent, the absence of sibling conflict, the absence of deranged Easter bunnies and pink nightmares? Ugh. I hope we will not be defining peace like this. That way, peace will never be possible for we spiritual beings having a human experience. I say it is better to define peace as Christian theologian Frederick Buechner does. He invokes the Hebrew word for peace, which is shalom. Shalom means fullness. Shalom means having everything you need to be holy and happily yourself. Peace is not the absence of struggle, says Frederick Buechner. It is the presence of love. Imagine this love as a way of seeing and empathizing. We are messy, imperfect beings. Specifically, we have parts within us that are still 4 years old in emotional age, and they somehow fully coexist in strange tension with our adult sense of self. Love here is the capacity to accept this and to tolerate the discomfort of this in ourselves and in our partner, and to recognize when it is playing out in our behavior. Recognizing this, saying to ourselves, the inner 4-year-old is activated. Okay, I need to calm that down. I need to comfort it. I need to honor it, but in a way that serves my true good and the true good of my relationship and my family. Atheistic philosopher Alain de Botton illustrates this in his exploration of sulking. How many of you have gone through episodes of sulking, or you've witnessed it in others? Wow, and the rest of you, your arms are broken. I don't know what's happening. At the heart of a sulk, he says, lies a confusing mixture of intense anger and an equally intense desire not to communicate what you are angry about. The sulker both desperately needs the other person to understand and yet remains utterly committed to doing nothing to help them do so. The very need to explain forms the kernel of the insult. If the partner requires an explanation, he or she is clearly not worthy of one. Now, in the last service, we had amen just come from over here. Just like, I don't know what's going on. Just one couple. Amen, amen, amen. So I connected with them. Maybe I'm connecting with you. If the partner requires an explanation, she's not worthy of one. He's not worthy of one. We should add, says Alain de Botton, it is a privilege to be the recipient of a sulk. It means the other person respects and trusts us enough to think we should understand their unspoken hurt. It is, he says, one of the odder forms, odder gifts of love. He goes on to say, we would ideally remain able to laugh in the gentlest way when we are made the special target of a sulker's fury. We would recognize the touching paradox. The sulker may be 6'1" and holding down adult employment, but the real message is poignantly retrogressive, which is this: deep down, I remain an infant, and right now I need you to be my parent. I need you to correctly guess what is truly ailing me, as people did when I was a baby and I could never talk and my ideas of love were first formed. We do our sulking lovers the greatest possible favor when we are able to see their tantrums as we would those of an infant. Now, we are so alive to the idea that it is patronizing to be thought of as younger than we are, we forget that it is also at times the greatest privilege for someone to look beyond our adult exterior in order to engage with and forgive the disappointed, furious, inarticulate child within. Unless the peace that is love is present in our families and relationships, and we can see with empathy the complexity underneath our conflicts, we can really get stuck in dysfunctional patterns, and we're turning away from each other rather than turning towards each other. Another example of this beyond sulking has to do, well, it has to do with a different side of conflict, different styles of conflict. Each and every family has its own style of conflict. Sometimes it is loud and passionate and full on. Other times it is more emotionally neutral, but you talk things out. Still other times it is sheer avoidance and difficulties. The difficulties are swept under the carpet, right? So let's talk about what happens when two people come together to start building a shared world and their conflict styles do not match. Let's say that one person comes from a family that really like to lay into each other with full sound, full fury, and then make up. And then the other person comes from a family that practice calm avoidance. These two come together. They love each other in the deep way that Alain de Botton talks about, and therefore conflict happens. The shouter steps up, and the avoider steps way, way back. Again, can you relate to that? Again, again and again it happens. And if it keeps happening, I guarantee you they lose respect for each other. Worse, they can start to see each other as less than human, as creatures of maliciousness. Have you ever seen that before? A relationship that started out with two people deeply in love, but it ends up with two people treating each other like things to abuse and degrade. Have you seen that? The cause is because the two people fail to see beyond their adult exteriors to the powerful inner child needs that are repeatedly not being fulfilled, so that inner child ends up feeling depressed, demoralized, and then lashes out in rage because it is trying to defend its integrity and itself. Or a wife accidentally drops a bowling ball onto her husband's lap. Right? Here's what's really happening between the shouter and the avoider. When the shouter steps forward and does their thing, and the avoider steps back, what happens is that the shouter's inner child is left all alone with the problem. They are all alone holding the bag. They're not seen. It is horrible. That's for the avoider's experience. They feel unsafe. They feel attacked by someone who is supposed to love them with tenderness. They want to flee. It feels horrible. Again and again, the inner child needs of the one not being seen and understood by the other, and vice versa. But the peace that is in the home, that is love, that is a capacity to accept and emphasize and empathize, rather, and allow space for complexity, that would help the shouter and that would help the avoider get to a better place. For each to know, first of all, that no one is trying to hurt the other intentionally. Both people are just trying to get deep needs met. One doesn't want to be alone, wants to be seen. One doesn't want to feel unsafe. So how can conflict happen in a way that both partners get their needs met? That is your homework assignment today. Discuss that among yourselves. But now that you know what their needs are, you can come to a solution. Peace in the home is about people getting all the raw materials of life that they need to grow up strong and true. Even as the experience is messy and imperfect, you bring compassion to that. So often, though, what we do bring is perfectionism. How we beat ourselves up because, hey, it's the holidays and it's all supposed to be all Hallmark card-like, right? And then we give or sometimes get gifts that are crappy. The loneliness and the anger. We beat ourselves up because relationships can be strained, because siblings are bickering, because grudges are harbored, because we have not been able to insulate our children or ourselves from every disappointment, because we haven't been able to do everything right, because deranged Easter bunny and pink nightmare moments happen. We beat ourselves up. But this is life. This stuff just happens. Peace in the home is not a perfectionistic absence of struggle. It is the presence of love. It is responding to the struggles lovingly, empathetically, and humanely, with a sense of humility. For who are we to expect perfection anyhow? Responding with a sense of humor. A Christmas Story, that movie, remember, despite all the serious stuff in it, it is a comedy. Reba McEntire, favorite philosopher, Reba McEntire says, to succeed in life, you need three things. You need a wishbone, you need a backbone, and you need a funny bone. And I wish that for all of you and yours.
Our final hymn this morning is number 95 in the great hymnal, There Is More Love Somewhere. The lyrics will be up on the screen. Please rise in body or in spirit.
Till I find it.
join hands for the benediction. So there is a paradox with regard to family. It is the one place where perhaps we can feel the deepest kinship relationships with others, right? Kinship. And it is also that same place where those folks you have experienced as true kin to you, they can bug you so much, you can end up feeling so angry towards them that you start to no longer see them as kin. They are the other. They are aliens. And that is when bad things can happen, that inner catastrophe, that cauldron of anger. Today, I invite you to think about what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist, and specifically the Universalist piece, which is the faith that whatever a person does, they do the best, they're doing the best they can with what they know at the time. That is what the Universalists say. And so you see that supposedly kin person doing something that is hurting you like crazy, and bring your Universalist faith to the center so you can be open to what is complex happening, right? So you can get to that point where you can discover what are the true needs trying to be met here. It is universalism that helps us to be resilient in our homes. And so I give that to you today. Take that out there with you in this world. Our Unitarian Universalism, which blesses us. Be a blessing to this world. So may it be. Go in peace.